Good afternoon, everyone. It's Mark Ding here from Central Innovation. I'm the certified elite engineer, um, also the technical support for electrical area as well. Welcome to this webinar today. We're going to be introducing SOLIDWORKS electrical working from home. We're also going to be covering the topics like, say, what kind of electrical setup you're currently working on, and how you can take a computer from your office location into your home location and start working from there, either by creating a new standalone environment working from home, or even you want to create a connection between the home computer to the server to a long communication still happening via VPN. So common issues that we usually received from customers, say setting up a home computer and having connectivity issues, SQL fail to connect up, or collaborative server fail to connect up, and also backing up strategies. All this topic will be covered in this session today. I will start the presenting with a PowerPoint, and then just in the middle of any topic, if you do have any questions, please let me know. Please just leave a question in the chat. And also at the end of this presentation, we'll be having a Q&A session as well. So I'll collect all the questions and then getting back to you during the webinar, or if I need to collect more information, I'll get back to you later on as well. First slide is going to be SOLIDWORKS electrical work from home. As the current coronavirus situation, we would seeing a lot of people being working from home now, including people using PDM, using SOLIDWORKS, using different products, including electrical as well. Electrical usually have two products, which is electrical 2D and electrical 3D. Electrical 2D can be a standalone product we installed on a computer without having SOLIDWORKS. Electrical 3D has to be installed within SOLIDWORKS, as 3D is just a little add-in that's been added into SOLIDWORKS itself. So if you're working on both electrical, either electrical 2D or electrical 3D, it all requires some sort of setup, allowing you to connect up to a server location accessing to the SQL, because electrical is SQL-based products. In this case, we'll be quickly just having an overview of the component setup for electrical in overall. Electrical components, we're having a few components in there. The first instance is the SQL server. The SQL server, it's actually holding all the libraries, connections, and permissions for any end user accessing to the electrical environment. And it's pretty much saying all the metadata is sitting on the SQL, including your symbols, your libraries, even the 3D components, metadata, the properties, file properties are always captured in the SQL database. And then we have a shared data folder. It could be sitting on the same server or on a different server, but this shared data folder, it's what's actually holding the actual library symbols. If it's like a 2D symbol, a schematic or line diagram, 2D symbols, it's just pretty much DWG or DXI files sitting in the shared data folder. If you're having the 3D components, you'll be having a 3D component library folder under this shared data folder as well. So pretty much, if all the users are accessing to the same server, then they'll be using the shared SQL server and the shared data folder in that case. If you're using a standalone installation, then the user will be accessing to the local SQL server and to a local shared data folder on the local computer. And a collaborative server, this is the server used for collaboration between the clients and the servers. Without having the collaborative server, the end user will not be able to connect up to the SQL and to the shared data location to do the communications. And also the last component is the clients, which is the individual workstations, which is the user that's using the program electrical doing the design job. So let's first of all have a look at the standalone installation. You will have the electrical 2D software, the actual program installed on the local computer, and also you will have a local SQL server. and a local library file, which is a local data folder in there. So pretty much everything is installed on the local. To install a standalone installation, all you need to do is just open the SOLIDWORKS installation manager, choose to individually install SOLIDWORKS electrical, and then on the product selection page, take electrical to be installed, and also take electrical server and clients both to be installed. And in the summary page on the electrical configuration, click on change, and then you can view the whole options of the electrical setup. So pretty much you want to install a data folder on your local drive. By default, it's going to the C program data folder, SOLIDWORKS electrical. So all the shared data will be going to that location. And also you want to install a new SQL instances. By default, it's giving you the default SQL name as TW_SQL Express. So electrical is using the SQL Express for the basic uses. If you're having more than 5 users wanting to access to electrical, you will need to consider using a SQL standard, because SQL Express is just for smaller group only. It will have a bit of issue with a large group of people accessing to the server altogether using SQL Express. So considering upgrading to SQL standard in that case. Now, with the standalone installation, you're going to be installing a new SQL, new collaborative server as well on the local computer, and the new data folder. And then every time when you archive and archive any environment, you are doing it locally, and all the projects will be saved on the local computer as well. A good thing about using SOLIDWORKS electrical is electrical provides us a really good feature. It's the archive feature. You can archive the whole environment, which is backing up everything from either the SQL and the data folder, the shared data folder. So once you archive environment and copy this environment to a different machine, to a different user, whoever have electrical installed will be able to unarchive the environment and be able to restore all the data, including the libraries, all the projects you've designed, and on their computer. So this is a really handy tool, and this opens so many possibilities of letting people working in different ways. Even if you need to work from home remotely, you don't have to really need to connect to the server. You can actually create a local environment and start to do work from there, and then you can take your work, archive the whole environment, and put it back into the server location. So yep, so this is the standalone installation. In comparison, for the electrical server and client collaboration setup, you will have a central server that's hosting both the SQL server, collaborative server, plus the shared data folder. The shared data folder has to be shared across the same network. So anyone that's needing to access the environment, electrical environment, will have the permission to access the shared data. If you're working with this particular method, every user is accessing to the same SQL and same shared data, sharing the entire libraries and projects. In that case, any user editing any projects, then this change or this modification can be reflected to other users instantly, which is great for collaborations. However, if you're needing to take one of this computer back to your home environments, what you need to do is you need to set up a VPN connection, making sure that the end users can still connect to the server, accessing to the SQL server, accessing to the collaborative server, and be able to access to the shared data location. So if all the computers are in the same office, then you can just use a local network, which is via a LAN. But if you are using a VPN, all the users will be using a WAN, public network. And then what could happen is you will be experiencing a bit of latency if you're working on large projects, pulling off large data from the server to the end users. So if you're really experiencing quite bad latencies and you would like to improve the performance, what I would suggest is install a local environment for this user. So you're pretty much installing a brand new local SQL and a brand new local collaborative server plus the shared data folder on the local user. And then pointing your electrical on the local user to this new setup SQL and shared data folder, and then unarchive either the environment or the projects you need you were working on to this new setup environment, and you can start to design the projects, keep working on from the local. And once you have everything already designed, you can when you go back to the office, you can pretty much unarchive the environment or unarchive the projects back to the server location, back to the server environment, and everything will be archived into the server. You are not losing anything at all. So this is the electrical client, server and client collaboration. And some common issue we see while setting up electrical at home. The first one is you could be using a VPN, so that's allowing your computer still be able to access into the server if you're using server and client setup. So in this case, sometimes the VPN is up and running, but the connection between this client to the server, it's still failing. We actually had a couple of people reporting this before. So the way to confirm this is doing a pen test using the command prompt. We can just click on the Windows Start button, type in CMD, bring up the command prompt, and then type in pin space the server name, enter. Usually you will get a good pin results coming back. If you're not getting anything, or say the connection is failed, then you will definitely need to contact the IT person to check why is the VPN failed to bridge the connection. Once the VPN connection is up and running, you need to make sure that the ports allowing the communication between the server and the client are up and running as well. So that's meaning this will allow, there are several ports that we need to consider in this case. The first port is the ports 1433 and 1434. Both the UDP and TCP ports for those needs to be open. This usually, if you're working in a local network, all the ports on both the UDP and TCP ports for 1433 and 1434 needs to be open on both the server and the clients on both the inbound and outbounds. This can be done via the Windows Advanced Firewall settings. You can add in a new port policy to open those ports. However, if you're working on the one using a VPN connection, VPN could potentially blocking the port as well. So you could be simply taking your computer from your work environment to your home environment, and everything stays the same, all the setup is the same. The only difference would be having a VPN connection, and then you pick up the connection between the clients to the server start to fail. That could be meaning the VPN is blocking those ports. So you need to make sure that contact the IT to make sure that those ports are open. Okay, if you're using a standalone SOLIDWORKS electrical license, you don't have to worry about these ports, the 25734 and 25735. But if you're working on a shared network license, then you need to make sure those ports are open. Only the TCP ports for 25734 and 25735 needs to be open to allow the SOLIDWORKS license manager to be able to communicate between the client and the server. Otherwise, you will typically see an error fail to obtain the license for SOLIDWORKS Electrical or for any other products if this is blocked. And the last port is the collaborative server port, which is both the UDP and TCP ports for 26666 by default. So this is the first port opened by the first connection. If you're having several people accessing to the same server, you need to make sure the same number of the ports are actually being opened equals to the total number of the electrical user in the same company, in the same environment. And any of the 1433 and 26666 ports are failed or blocked to communicate between the server and the client, you will typically see connectivity issues. And then just contacting IT to open the ports, and usually that will resolve the issue. And the last one is if you're setting up a brand new electrical client on the workstation at your home computer, what could happen is sometime, because this is a new setup, and sometime this new setup could be failed to connect to the SQL database, even if the connection of the VPN is up and running. So in that case, we'll need to perform a ODBC, both 32 bits and 64 bits test to ensure that this client can access to the server location. to the SQL database. If this is failing, then IT will have to look into what has been blocking the client from accessing to the SQL. And once that is resolved, you should be able to connect to the server and collaborate. But this is a common issue we're seeing from moving a computer from the office environment to a home environment. However, if you're just using a standalone environment, standalone installation for electrical, where both the SQL collaborative server and also the database folder, the data folder plus the client are actually sitting on one computer, you do not have to worry any of this. Probably the only thing you need to worry is if you're using a network license, you will need to make sure that the ports 25734 and 25735 are open. If you're using a standalone license, there's nothing to worry. You can just take everything home and start to work from there. Everything will be sweet. So next one is if you're wanting to create a standalone environment for the time being you're working at home, you can install a new standalone collaborative server, and the standalone data folder on your local computer. And then you need to go to your SOLIDWORKS electrical application, open electrical on the top left corner, on the electrical big symbol, click on it. It will bring up the drop-down list and give you the option to open the application settings. Once the application setting is opened, you will typically see a window pops up with 3 tabs. The first one is collaborative server, second one is databases, and the last one is 3D. So collaborative server, meaning which collaborative server you are linked up to connecting to the SQL. In this case, if you're working from a local environment, you will just simply type in localhost and it will automatically pick up the local server name and being able to connect up. Once you type in the address and type in the port number, in this case would be 26666, click on connect. You will typically see you are connected to the server IP plus the port number there, meaning indicating the connection to the collaborative server is up and running. If you are working from home connecting to the server location, so you will need to type in the server name here in this column to allowing the electrical application to be accessing to the collaborative server on the server location. So the next page will be introducing the second tab, which is databases server. Here, there are 2 settings we will need to customize. The first one is the application data folder, which is the shared data folder that hosting all your actual symbols project files, 3D components files. So this are actually currently sitting on my local drive. But if you are accessing to the server, you need to click on this browse button and browse to the server folder location and link it up here. You need to, when setting up the server and client's installation, the very important thing is making the server shared folder to be accessible for all the users across the network. So that's why all the users should be able to click on the browse button and browsing for that particular directory and link it up. If you're just using a local environment, just leave this to whenever the local folder was installed, and by default, it gets installed into C program data, SOLIDWORKS electrical. Okay, so the next one is the SQL, the SQL instances. You'll need to type in both the server name / the SQL instance name. The server name would be the computer name on the server, and the SQL instances by default should have been named TEW_SQL Express. If you're not using the default name, you'll need to type in, if you're using the named instances, you'll need to find what name the SQL was using and then type it in here. And to log in or connect up to the server, this SQL on the server, you'll need to make sure you type in the correct SQL credential. By default, if you didn't change anything, the username for the TEW_SQL Express should always be TEW itself. And the password is always this SQL PWD4EW. This is the default SOLIDWORKS installation. If you're doing a standalone installation, the data location will be located into the C program data folder. /SOLIDWORKS Electrical. And the collaborative server will be using the local host name, and you can install a new instance of SQL and using the default name localhost /TW_SQL Express. So once you have this set up, you should be able to connect from your home location, home environment to the server. And it can simply establish a standalone setup on your home computer in the meantime, so that you will be able to simply tweak the shared data folder location and the SQL instances to be able to log into different environments. So if I change the shared folder to the data folder to the shared location on the server and using the shared SQL on the server, and I'm actually accessing to the server location, communicating with the server SQL database. If I change this to my local location and change this to my local SQL in the application settings, and then I'm accessing to the local environment, and everything I do, all the file I created will be backing up in the local. So this is how you can quickly just switch the settings to jump between different environments to be working on your projects and libraries. The next topic we'll introduce is backing up strategies. If you're wanting to back up your environment and take it home, creating a local environment, and then start to work local, then what you can do is click on the Archive Environment button, and then this will bring up the Archive Environment wizard. We'll give you the option of pretty much backing up everything, but a lot of times you probably don't need everything to be backed up. Just select the particular libraries you're going to be using for your current working on project or the new projects you're going to be working on pretty soon, and then you will be able to get all the library files archived in the file and take it home and archive that into the new environment. Everything will be available. This is environment, which allowing you to do a full backup of the whole data set, including SQL data plus the shared folder data, the actual file data as well. If you're wanting to archive particular project, you just need to open Electrical Project Manager and click on Archive on particular selected projects. In this case, if you're currently working on project, archive this project, take it home, all the project data will be captured, including all the library feature that's being inserted into this project will also be archived as well. So you will not lose anything. When you take it home, it will be working just like what you were seeing before. So this is the really, really powerful tool, archive tool in Electrical. Once you finish all the projects in your standalone environment, what you can do is you can either do a archive of the projects or archive of the environment, and then later on you can take it back to the office, archive everything. Once you have connection to the server, unarchive everything into the server SQL and the shared data folder, and all the information you've done offline will be archived into the server. So this is like a really nice and easy way. If you're working on some other SOLIDWORKS products, like say SOLIDWORKS PDM, you understand, this electrical archive function is just so powerful. Because for SOLIDWORKS PDM, there is no such an archive tool allowing you to wrap up the whole environment and take it away. You will need to create a backup of the SQL database for each individual vault, and then the backup of all the archive server settings, plus all the actual archive files, and then take it into a local location, re-establish the whole PDM environment, and then connect the PDM clients to the new established environments, which is taking quite a few more steps. It's quite complicated as well. So in this case, archive projects in Electrical is just so much more powerful than any other products compared to all the SOLIDWORKS products. So yeah, that's the basic setup we actually introduced for working from home. You might come across some other issues. It could be, symbol libraries got damaged, or some products losing symbols, some products losing data. So in that case, please just contact our support. You can contact our support via emailing us at support@intercat.co.nz, or giving us a call on 0508-223-226 if it's urgent issue. Let's say license is not working, you cannot grab a license from the server to your client, or license is not activating. Or if it's not urgent issue, just email us or just raise a case through my InterCAD. If you're not aware of what my InterCAD is, just Google Central Innovation My InterCAD, and you'll be able to find my InterCAD. And then this is like a support tool. You can actually load a case directly to contact our support team via my InterCAD. It's a pretty handy tool. So any questions? Let me just quickly browse down to the question list, and I'll see if anyone's left me any questions in there. And you're free to ask any questions in the meantime. I'll probably wait for another 5 minutes or so, see if there's any questions coming through. At the moment, I'm not seeing any. If you have any questions regarding to the electrical server and client setup, or how you can change the application settings, then just feel free to give me a yell. And also later on, if you have any technical issues, please remember to just call us or just drop an email through to our support team. We'll be able to help you out from there as well. Just one little thing I also need to mention is when talking about the application settings here, I'm not sure if any of you are actually using 3D as well. Using electrical 3D in the SOLIDWORKS interface, in the SOLIDWORKS electrical, you will still have the application settings that's integrated within SOLIDWORKS, referring to electrical 3D setup. So typically you'll be seeing the same setup, having the collaborative server, database, and 3D. You need to make sure if you're working local, you need to point everything into a local location. If you're working on the server and client setup, you need to point everything onto the server. So the last type here, 3D, it's meaning that whereabouts you're going to be saving your 3D component parts in. By default, it will be sitting in the same path where the electrical folder, shared data folder, it's installed. If you figure that you want to store all the information on a different path, you can separate it out, putting your electrical components, library parts into a different folder if you want it. And another thing I really want to mention is, I haven't got electrical open. I'll quickly just open it up. If you open either my electrical 2D or electrical 3D, looking at my application setup, oops, application setup, go to the 3D environment. You can see here you've got this folder that's actually saved as the installation folder path. You can change it to any folder by clicking on this browse button. And also the other really important thing is this copy 3D path to projects. We recommend not taking this, because if you're using a server and client setup, all the 3D parts will be archived into the server location. There's no need to copy them into the projects. This will be causing a bit of issue with slow performance and such. So, it's really up to you to have it enabled or not. But we could be just leave it unticked at the start and then click on apply and OK to accept the change. So that's another thing we need to have a look. So that's probably most of the questions we're going to be covering in this particular Q&A session. And I'm still not seeing any questions popping through. So it's good to have you guys here, and please let me know or drop me an email later on if you're having any questions, particular to any sort of electrical questions, and then we'll be helping you from there. All right, thank you guys for attending this webinar, and we're just gonna end the webinar right now. And yeah, we're going to be having regular webinars on a regular basis. You should all receive a little email indicating our coming webinars in the following weeks. On Friday, we'll be having a webinar that's going to be run by my colleague Ahmed Lashin. So it's gonna be quite interesting topic as well. Just please, if you have time, check it out and give us any feedbacks on any interesting topics you would be like to watch, and then we can organize another webinar in the near future. Thanks for your time, and we'll catch you shortly again. See you.